Good afternoon, everyone. It's hard to believe it's been 4 months, and we're sitting almost in these exact spots, sharing with you the rough news that of course the COVID virus was going to disrupt and interrupt most of life as we know it. And boy, today we have a better message. We're pretty excited that we actually are starting to get back together, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So we wanted to update you today as your pastors at Good Shepherd of some of the ideas and thoughts that we've come up with, and we're excited. We're really excited to get back together and to be as one again in each other's presence. So, just a few things. Unless restrictions interrupt us again, we're planning, as you hopefully know already, to get back in this place for worship on July 26th, Sunday, July 26th. What we wanted to share is just a little bit about what that worship will look like, but also an update on we probably aren't going to be live streaming again. There's multiple reasons for not live streaming. One of the first ones is the purpose for live streaming was to connect people, of course, while we couldn't be together. But now that we can, we feel like live streaming doesn't have the purpose as much anymore. So what we'll do is we'll still record parts of the service, specifically the scripture and the message, so that we can continue to follow along with regards to the series and where we are. And then you can connect with that. It'll be uploaded right after the service. But the purpose for it really, live stream will cease unless the restrictions, of course, cause us to be separate again. So that's what's going to happen. So there won't be any Zoom worship as of July 26th, but we can continue to connect through the worship and message, and we'll do what we can, and we'll share some more of that in just a moment as Rolly shares about what worship, we're thinking about worship coming up. So Rolly, what do you have for us?
Okay, well, things are going to happen a bit different because we've got to have a COVID-safe plan as a congregation and as an assembly of people coming together. One of the things is, of course, if you're sick or crook, please do not come. Yes, because when you enter the building, we'll have to take your name and contact details, and you'll need to initial it just to say that you are aware that you're not sick or carrying any lurgies. There'll be sanitizer there for you to use, and then as you make your way into the building, we're hoping to have some arrows of people flow for people to flow as they enter the building and exit the building, and the same people flow will be used when we come forward for Holy Communion. That's going to be different from what we've done in the past. One of the things is we can no longer use the common cup, and so what we envisage at this stage is that people would come around the back of the church and then go up the middle aisles, and when they get to the front, we go either to the right or to the left, and there'd be, I think, 3 people standing there. One will issue the bread, and they will drop the wafer into your hand, and another person will pass a little single glass cup, with wine or grape juice, if that's what you prefer. And another person will have gluten-free bread if you require that. And then you'll come up the front row, you'll go to either side to receive your communion, and then you'll go back to your seats via the side aisles, whichever is closest to you. And the same movement flow will be used when we exit the building. Mm-hmm. So that's a bit about the coming and going side of it. Yeah. Perhaps you want to say a little bit about fellowship afterwards, morning tea.
Yeah. So one thing, no, I want to actually interrupt. I love that Rolly still he's got great slang, like even using the words crook and lurgy in the same sentence. They're things that I didn't grow up with. So
it's a vernacular Australian.
I'm crook. That sounds like something Nixon would say. Okay, so in the service too, of course, we won't have. We're going to have to erase in some ways the children's area for a while, just because when we have kids up there and lots of parents that need to be in that space, we can't have that for a little while yet. So we encourage you to bring some quiet things for the kids to do. And if you forget, we'll have some opportunities also here. What was the second thing you wanted me?
Uh,
Fellowship. We just there's all sorts of fellowship, but we just received an email from the district, and the government is allowing that to happen. It's just we just have to make sure that everything is spaced out correctly. So we can have tea and coffee, but we may not have it for the first couple weeks. We want to see how worship and all of this spacing happens here first, and then we'll move gradually into that and try not to do everything at once. Because, of course, we'll still need some faithful volunteers to help serve and those sorts of things. And we don't want to overwhelm people to start with. So very much looking forward to, if we have some tea or coffee in other places too, that's great, or in homes. But we'll wait a few weeks for that.
Sure. One of the questions is, are we going to be singing in worship? And at this stage, we think yes, unless we start to have active cases of COVID in our South Australian community.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that raises some other issues. But I think it's good that we get used to doing worship again, and there's going to be a few things to learn about that and to review about that as we go. There's some things, we could have done this better or that better. Before we add the complexity of morning tea and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's still not going to stop people from catching up or invite each other to your homes. Well, don't have coffee here today. Well, let's get together, have some coffee and cake together, and hang out for a bit and share our stories and how things have been of the past and what we're looking forward to in the future.
Well, it's very much similar to what we've been doing for the last 3 months, at least, when we can get together. The pastoral care that's been happening in Good Shepherd has been a beautiful thing, and people taking care of each other. And we don't really want the return to worship to say, okay, now we don't need to do that anymore. Of course, that's not on our minds. But just a reminder that the beauty of what we are as a church is being church, not just be in the building. So keep going, keep taking care of people, reaching into the community.
Just on that, pastoral care happens on a whole heap of different levels, and last week we had our second pastoral care for everyone thing, and the topic was understanding codependency. I interviewed with Artis Bartley, and we talked about the dynamic of codependency and why boundaries are necessary as we continue to give care. I've just posted those notes onto the website, as well as Matt Dutchke suggested a book called Tough Love. It's written by an ex-drug addict who now runs his rehabilitation centre in Perth. And all the things, one of the things, he helps addicts recover, but he also wants to help families to understand when they are cleaning up and atoning for someone with an addiction, and they have no need or desire to get better, because he says you're not dealing with the person anymore, you're dealing with the drug and its addiction. So Tough Love, there's some references to that on those notes as well as some YouTube clips that you can watch with this, what's his name? Peter someone or other.
We'll find it.
Yeah, you can find it. He's giving some conferences with citizens and parents about how to best help a loved one with an addiction issue. With regards to Bible studies, we're still thinking about offering those when and as we can, as well as Faith Gym. Not quite sure what that's going to look like. I think we'll get back to worship, and we'll work out about the facilities for recording those things and posting them, and we'll announce that as we work it out.
It takes a larger space too for us, a larger space to figure out how everything is going to work. And so as groups are getting back together, we're in meetings in this week of asking how that's going to look for Meet and Eat, fellowship, Thursday fellowship, Faith Gym, women's groups. All these things we're working together, and we should know in the next couple of weeks what those will look like and when those will begin again too. So we just want you to know that we're excited to have these larger groups getting back together to be in fellowship and to enjoy life together.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to speaking to people face to face, and the interaction that happens when we gather together. I really value that, and of course singing together. There's something mystical and wonderful when God's people join voices. It's not just about exercising our mind, it's our whole self joining together to give thanks and praise to God. So I'm hanging out for that too.
Yep. So it'll be great to see you in person as a gathering on July 26th. We will have 2 services. We aren't going to have combined services, obviously, for the foreseeable future, even at the on 5th Sundays, but we'll get together 2 services, 8:45, 10:30, and we'll see you there.
Yep. God bless you.
Yep.
Good to connect with you again.
Okay. See you later.
Cheers.